for our first international webinar. My name is Merve İmer. I'm member of Young Shipping Professionals Istanbul and Vista Turkey families. And I'm working at Borachart Istanbul as dry cargo shipbroker. Tonight we are together again after summer break. We are delighted to welcome our precious guests. Our topics are women leadership, access, and career clarity, and we will be listening stories behind inspiring women in shipping and trading. Before I yield the floor to our speakers, I would like to give short information regarding our association. Young Shipping Professionals Istanbul community was founded three years ago by young traders and brokers in maritime industry. Our aim is to provide training and consultation activities, social communication network with our community to our experiences in profession, and to help junior friends in the sector. In this direction, our group took a decision to become an association, hence officially became an association 2 years ago. Our association is getting stronger day by day and increasing its activities to guide the future of young people in the sector. I also would like to introduce dear Yasmina Ruber, who will be moderating our webinar tonight. Welcome again. During the last 35 years, Yasmina held several managerial positions in various industries, marketing, finance, trading, and shipping. She has led many different cities, Geneva, New York, Rio de Janeiro, Tel Aviv, Brussels, and had to adjust many changes over the years. She has been an employee, a managing director, and as general manager, has launched new companies. While working in trading and shipping, she realized that many women were still not recognized and rewarded properly for it too. Willing to expand, she underwent extensive coaching certificates in various areas, business and leadership, health and wellness, as well as transformational coaching. Since the beginning of 2020, she is dedicating her time to her new career, while empowering women through in her Women in Leadership program. She is a very warrior of diversity and brings awareness on gender-biased companies via her trainings. Yasmin is particularly active within trade associations. For 6 years, she was the president of Vista Switzerland and is still on its board. She is a member of executive board of the ZIP Commodity Association, part of the Swiss Trading and Shipping Association. Yasmin is married and has 6-year-old son. Her hobby is painting. She successfully participated in many exhibitions in Europe. Sorry for my Skype voice, by the way. Dear Yasmina, once again, thanks for accepting our invitation. Then I leave the word to you, and I close my video. Turn on.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Merve. Thank you to the young shipping professional in Istanbul, representing Turkey, to welcome us today. It's an honor and a big joy to be here with all of you. Especially very happy because I've been able to invite some of my good friends around this table to share some experiences that they have. And I will start the introduction, and the first one to talk about her career, her path, and the way up the ladder. And just before that, I would like also to say that I have a special connection to Turkey. I had the privilege of visiting your country several times already, and my best holidays were on a ship doing the Blue Cruise. So this is a fond memory that I have. I also had the very lucky to be able to participate to the Vista Turkey conference a few years ago, and although today you are going to meet ladies from Switzerland, the US, you have a very important representative from the Turkish maritime industry in Turkey today with us, Nazli, and you have so many important ladies from the Turkish maritime industry in Turkey, I think it would be very difficult to choose which one to invite today. So I just want to say a special hello to my friends and in Turkey who know me, and a special one to Alime, because I have very fond memories of meeting her there a few years ago. So first, let me introduce you to Nazli. So she is one of the 3 founding partners of NSN Law Firm in Istanbul. She's been practicing mainly maritime law since 1995. She is a graduate of Istanbul University, Faculty of Law, and she completed her LLM in Yeditepe University in Istanbul. Her LLM thesis is Salvage under Turkish Commercial Code with reference 6102, and this one has been published as a book. Her areas of expertise is maritime law, and it consists of marine pollutions, charter party disputes, cargo claims, salvage, collisions, fire damages, and crew claims. She is a member of the Turkish Maritime Lawyers Association and is the actual president of ISTA Turkey. So Nazli, we would be very happy to hear your story that you are willing to share with us.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Yasmina. It's very nice to see all of you here. And I would like to express my special thanks to young shipping professionals in Turkey. They are really young and they are also really professional. They organize very nice events, although we are in these strange and difficult times. I find them very effective, very efficient, and very active. They are promising young generation of the Turkish maritime community, I must say. You're asking about what my journey as a maritime lawyer, I guess, Yasmina. I have started working in one of the major P&I correspondents in Turkey, Omur Marin, when I was just a student in maritime law faculty. I started part-time and I learned nearly everything, because if I had started in a law firm, I would probably only learn the legal side of the world. But in a P&I correspondent, I have experienced several cases, stowaways, repatriations, and everything. So it was a very educative period of my life, I must say. I stayed there, worked there for around 7 years. And then with 2 of my colleagues there, we set up our own firm in the year 2000. It's NSN Law Firm. Sevilay Kuru and Nedret Ünlü are my 2 family members. We are family now. And we are partners since then. Of course, the law firm evolved during the years. We do not do shipping only. It's a full service law firm, but our main practice area has always been shipping law. Actually, as a woman, especially as a lawyer, I was luckier than maybe my other colleagues in the shipping community, because my senior colleagues, lady colleagues, women colleagues, they have opened the way to us. And we were very welcomed in the maritime community. There are lots of women shipping lawyers in Turkey. Sometimes people are getting surprised about it, but we are a number, actually. My first story that really affected me was when I was not a lawyer, but a trainee only. I cannot forget that one, actually. It was there was a deceased crew member on board a ship, and she was anchored off the Bosphorus. And we had to go on board with a public prosecutor and take statements of the crew, and also and then take the deceased crew member to shore for repatriation. normally I would have to be accompanied by a senior lawyer, but she had a car accident, and I had to go alone. And I have been told that I should complete this job, 100%. And I said, of course, okay. And we met with the agent. We had to go to the vessel, and there was a doctor also with the public prosecutor. And when they saw me, they said, "You cannot come on board." I said, "Why?" And they said, "You are young and you are a girl. You must have parents or something. We cannot take you on board." I said, "Well, come on. I'm a trainee lawyer, and I will lose my job if you do not let me in, and this and that." I cried, literally. And then they said, "Okay, we will take you on board." It was my first visit on board, actually. And we had to climb the Jacob ladder because the other one was not ready. And then we attended on board. It was sad, of course, because the reason why we were going, lawyers are not dealing with good things in shipping. Normally, it's always a problem. And this was also a sad story, a deceased crew member. Anyway, we took him with the public prosecutor, took statements and everything, and then came back. That was, I think, injected to my blood the love of shipping law. I said, "Well, this is amazing. This is, perfect." I could have not imagined anything better, because it involves its own energy. It's never static. It's always there's always something happening. It's international. And I said, "Well, I think that is the best area of law that I'm dealing with." And since then, I actually deal with it. I love it. I love shipping. And like this, we have lots of stories and, adventures, let's say. But as I said, I'm lucky because I never experienced any kind of discrimination in my job, and we were always welcomed and respected. But I am aware that there are ladies in this sector who needs support, who needs assistance. And I'm doing my best as the president of Vista Turkey to support anyone who needs anything in this community. And that's what I can think of, Yasmina, at the moment.
That's great. So maybe you would like to say, being in Turkey, and we have a lot of Turkish audience. Some are Vista members, and others, this will be the next step for them because they are maybe starting their career now. Is there any kind of advice that you could give them?
I think they shouldn't have any limits, and they should love what they are doing. When you love it, success comes automatically, I believe. And you should not limit your vision. You should not, you should create what you want to do, and then you do. I think if you do not have limits in your own brain, then nobody can limit you. And loving the thing you do, the job you do, is the most important thing. So I advise them to dream, to create, and then move on.
I mean, I can only go your way because I have myself a program which is called the Dream Builder, and this is exactly what we do. And then I was thinking about this, and I said, yes, if you cannot succeed in life doing something for which you don't have a passion. If you don't do something with love or with passion, I mean, you are not going to do it well. I completely agree with you.
Yeah. If I have time, I just remembered a very funny story that we have experienced. Yasmina, can I share it with the audience?
Yes, please.
Turkish audience knows sometimes our religious holidays are quite long. I mean, depending on the month, they happen in moon calendar. So sometimes it's quite long, and 10 days normally, and life stops in those kind of religious holidays. It's like the Christmas time, in Europe. So it was just one day before a 10-day long religious holiday, and we were in the office. And we have been instructed by a PNI club as a law firm, saying that an Italian tanker hit to a little boat, a pleasure boat, which was organizing a sightseeing for a couple from Switzerland. Interestingly, 65-year-old couple, they were doing a Bosphorus tour on board this wooden boat. It was a foggy day. I don't know why that captain took them in a foggy day to Bosphorus. And the tanker was huge, and she hit to the boat. Did not see it. It's a wooden boat, not in the radar, no, and didn't even feel that it hit because it's a little one. And then the captain of the little boat took these tourists with their life jackets on to the bulb of the ship. They climbed at the time of collision to the bulb, and 3 of them traveled 15 minutes on the bulb in the Bosphorus. And then the VTS calls the captain of the tanker saying that, well, you just hit a boat, you should anchor. And the master was very, surprised, saying that, oh my God, I didn't hit anyone. I didn't feel it. Then they sent the crew to the bow of the ship. And when they looked, they saw the 3 people, 1 captain and 2 tourists with their life jackets on the bulb sitting. And then captain was shocked, of course. Anyway, they anchored, and the tourists were rescued. The first question of the club was, are tourists American? I said, no, they are from Switzerland. Club was relieved. And then they said, of course, the vessel was arrested and this and that. And we went to the harbor master for the statements to be taken. I was young, very junior in those days, and I was doing the translation. And the master said, there were 3 people on the bulb. And the harbor master couldn't believe, he didn't understand. He said, and he yelled at me saying that, you are not translating correctly, this is impossible. And then he said, tell him to draw, and I still remember the bulb and the stick man. He was drawing on the bulb, and that was really amazing. And years later, I was telling this to one of our trainee lawyers, and she was a niece of a scriptwriter and an actor, very famous actor, Ata Demirer. And probably they heard it, or they talked within the family, I don't know. There was one movie, a comedy movie. It starts with this scene, a ship hits to a boat. So, you don't know what you inspire or where you have an effect. This world is full of energy and adventure, I must repeat.
And surprises.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
That's really a funny one. Is there anything else you would like to add, or shall we go around maybe to our next speaker, and then we can go back to some questions, Q&A.
Of course. Thank you, Yasmina.
Thank you so much, Nazli. Really, really enjoyed your story. So our next speaker today is going to be Marlene. Marlene Boyer is currently the Global Commercial Manager at Stoll Tankers in Houston, Texas, and with close to 80 worldwide contracts, as well as international teams to coordinate. And prior to joining Stoll, she worked at various shipping companies from Campbell Tankers, Clipper Tankers, and OMI. And prior to her shoreside experience, Marlene went to SUNY Maritime and graduated with her merchant mariner's license and the commission to the US Naval Reserves. And she also spent over 5 years sailing on US merchant tankers where she earned her unlimited chief mate's license and limited master's license. Okay. She was the president of Vista USA Connecticut chapter for many years. And now she lives in Houston and she's on the board of Vista USA as a recording secretary. So welcome, Marlene. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Yasmina. And thank you, Nestle, for starting it off. I hate talking in front of people, so it was nice to have you go first and hear your wonderful story. Just to start off, as Nestle said, this industry is all about passion. We're all here because we love what we do, and we essentially want to be in it constantly. I've been in the industry for 21 years now. It's a long time, and I'm saying it on video. I started off at maritime school. I kind of stumbled upon it. I wanted to go into marine biology. That was my passion growing up, and my parents essentially told me I'd never make any money being a biologist. They told me it was a passion and not something that you could really make a career out of. So when I started looking at colleges, I luckily fell into the maritime industry. I didn't know that we had schools that trained you how to become a mariner, but on top of that, they had a marine biology program. So I went to maritime to become a biologist, and I fell in love with the sea, and I never looked back. As Yasmina said, I started my career shipping. I loved it. It was difficult though. Being a female on ships, I was always the only one on a ship of, I would say 20 to 24 people. And luckily it was US flag, so there were shorter voyages. It's not like we're at sea for, I would say longer than, maybe my longest stint at sea was 25 days, crossing the Pacific a few times. But there were short voyages, so we're in port essentially every week, week and a half. But some of my funny stories, and maybe I didn't think they were so funny when I was 21 on a ship. The first ship I sailed on, when I came on board, the chief mate looked at me and essentially asked me, "What the expletive are you doing here? You're a female." So I was kind of shocked because coming out of school, you think, I got this and I trained for this and ready for this, and they wanted nothing to do with me. I just kept my head down for about a month, and within 30 days, nobody saw my gender on the vessel. I mean, if somebody met you who was new, they would obviously look at you a little sideways and realize you're a female. But I kind of learned early on, keep my head down, do my job. They'll see past my gender. They'll see my work ethic. They'll see what I can offer, and they did. But it always took about 30 days. Every ship I went on, it was the same thing. It was a little difficult as I got on, but after a certain amount of time, they really realized to depend on you. And that was the greatest thing about being on a ship, because you really have to depend on each other for your life. You really need to trust your crewmates for safety reasons and navigation. I mean, I was navigating the ship 8 hours of the day, essentially by myself. So they really had to have that trust in you, and you built it pretty fast once they get to know your capability. Another funny story, I mean, when I was a cadet, I was doing a lot of time on the ships, trying to get my experience on commercial ships. And I remember I was on a tug and barge, and we got into Portsmouth in New England, on the US East Coast. And, as a cadet, you're pretty much told to do all the grunt work. So the pilot was coming on, and I ran down the ladder wells, got to deck, got the pilot on the ship, and they said, "Hey, I'm going to escort you up to the bridge." And in those days, the tug and barges, the wives would accompany the captains on the barges. And the captain looked at me and he was like, "You're pretty young to be the captain's wife. How old is the captain?" And I just shook my head and I said, "I'm not not somebody's wife. I'm a cadet. I'm training to become a merchant mariner." And he was pretty shocked. So the whole time, for the rest of my time on that tug and barge, which was again all men, everyone called me the captain's wife as a joke. I mean, it wasn't meant to be degrading. But just to kind of go fast, because I feel like I spent a lot of time on that. I mean, 20 years in the shipping industry, it's been wonderful, but it also had a lot of ups and downs. I mean, I went from really getting my career going on U.S. tankers. I got my unlimited master's license. I was training chief mate, and then I decided to come ashore. It was a personal decision between my husband and I. He's also in the industry, and it was a good decision at the time. There's a lot of job openings in the U.S. for shoreside personnel with shipping experience. I started in the operations side, which was great, but I always had a passion for trading. I mean, trading is kind of that, everyone looks at it as a kind of lucrative career, and you're entertaining and you're really in the folds of things. But the operational side really made me a good trader. Being from the shore side, I learned obviously all the terminology and how ships run. Going on the operations side, I really learned how to deal with the ships, deal with the captains, and communicate between the vessels and the office, and really essentially manage that. I mean, you're really managing the heart of the company when you're dealing with the ships. I had such good relationships with the vessels that some of these captains would call me on their vacation to say thank you for making my tour a success, because it's stressful being on the ship as a captain, especially with today's communication. They're constantly bombarded with emails and requests, where in the old days when that wasn't around, they ran their own show. So there was a lot of pressure on the ships. Going into trading was very difficult. I was rejected so many times. I can't even tell you how many times, but I was persistent because I had passion, again, for this industry. I was told by one shop, I had a broker shop approach me because the partner really liked working with me at my company, and he wanted me on board. And he essentially had to call me and tell me, I'm really sorry, but nobody else is on board with bringing a female into our fold. I know that's illegal to say. I mean, in the US, I'm not sure how it is in other places, but I didn't look at it as being like, oh, my rights have been refused and just because I'm a female. It just made me realize, okay, I have to work harder to prove myself now in this industry, essentially off the ships. So that kind of went on for many years until I had somebody that really believed in me. And this is when I go into finding a mentor, and essentially not even someone who's a mentor, but someone who will advocate for you or believe in you. Find those people in the industry because they will make a difference in your life professionally. It's really important to, again, work hard, know what you're doing. You're not going to get a job handed to you. But find people in the industry who are a few ladders above you that can guide you and tell you, hey, I think you're approaching this wrong, or maybe you need a little bit more training or more education. But I essentially found that. And this person who was a male, so it could be male or female, gave me an opportunity. And when I joined that company, nobody wanted to accept that I was given this opportunity. They didn't think I was worth it, but again, I kept my head down, I did my work, I proved myself, and eventually people will come around. So you can't, and I don't look at, those people are very close friends of mine right now. I don't disgruntle them or get upset that they treated me that way looking back at it, because it made me who I am, it made me stronger, and I'm in control of my own career. And that's another piece of advice I would give you. I've read this somewhere, so it's not my own term, but be the CEO of your career. Nobody can tell you what you should do or what jobs you should take or shouldn't take. Take control of it, take ownership of it. It's your life. You need to kind of think, what would my 40-year-old self or 50-year-old self tell myself at this time in my life? And I also do that. I always try to reflect in the future and try to see, would I want to be here, or is this really the right choice for me? But don't be afraid of pushing the limits. And if your company or the situation you're in right now will not accept you in it, you really need to make that choice. Is this really for me? And move on. I mean, find the companies that will really see you as for who you are, which is your work. It's not your gender. It's not it's not where you're from. It's not your nationality. It's really what you can bring to the table. So that would definitely be my biggest advice in that. I'm not sure if there's any questions, but I think I'm kind of over the
No, but thank you. No, don't worry. We have extensible timing. And I mean, thank you so much for sharing your journey in the shipping industry. I think that I was so happy when you accepted the invitation, because you have a very specific story, I would say, which is, I don't know if it's unique, but I haven't met a lot of ladies who have been going through this path, and I know you, so
yes.
So I was very lucky. So, and I think that it's really, I mean, I think you can really give a lot of hope for a lot of people. And I think that you are the second one to say that. And I'm sure that the last two are going to say exactly the same. Without passion, you're not getting anywhere.
Yes. And just find the people who'll support you. I mean, that's the biggest thing, especially when you're feeling down, because they can reflect with you and make sure that you're looking at this in a positive manner, because you learn from all your experiences, and believing in yourself and speaking out about your work is really important. But if you feel that you're at a dead end, sometimes it's important to move on and find those companies that will really help you to thrive in the industry, because they're out there.
Yeah. Excellent. Great. So thank you so much, Marlene. I think we're going to go to the next speaker, and we'll be back with some questions, I'm sure, from the audience. We will have a lot later on. So our next speaker, because we go in now in alphabetical order, is Mariana Yarmolenko-Stober, and she is a senior counsel EMEA of ADM International, which is the Archer Daniels Midland company, for who doesn't know. So she's been working with ADM for more than 10 years, and she's focusing on transactions and competition law matters. And before that, she was with Baker McKenzie in Kiev, as she is originally coming from Ukraine. She's been a member of Vista Switzerland since 2012, and she has been the secretary of Vista Switzerland since 2019. So Mariana, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good day, Marlene. Thank you, Yasmina, and thank you, Young Shipping Professionals Turkey, for organizing this great event. I listened to the great stories of Nazli and Marlene, and indeed, I have to say that my story is really very similar, and the ideas or takes away I wanted to share are kind of along the same lines. So as Yasmina said, I originally come from Ukraine, and I qualified as a lawyer there in 2003, and left first to do my master in Sweden, and then I started looking for a job, and I started my career really far away from shipping and trading. I was very focused on the human rights and elections and public law and things like that. So my first job, my first professional experience was in the organization called OSCE, Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. And we were doing a lot of elections monitoring in Europe at that time. But it was just a 1-year contract, and it ended, and I was looking for opportunities to stay in the same area. In the same kind of industry, we can say NGOs or something like that. But as I look back at myself and my career and what I did, how I thought, at that time I didn't really have a focus. So for me, what is important is passion, of course, is very important, but another thing is a focus. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was looking for. I was kind of sending my CV everywhere, and I was thinking who will accept me, who will invite me for interview. So I was approaching different industries, NGOs, law firms, companies, everybody, and I didn't have any success. And then I kind of stopped and started thinking, okay, so it doesn't work with the NGOs. So what do you do, Mariana? And then I said, okay, I'm still qualified lawyer, so why don't I go to the law firm? And the moment I focused and said, okay, I'm going to private practice, I'm approaching law firms. I just sent out my CVs, and I had a job in a few weeks' time. And I first started in one law firm in Kiev, and then I moved to Baker McKenzie in Kiev as well. So for me, the very big takeaway from this was that you really need to know what you want, and then you take the opportunities when that they go along. But it's important to know which way you are moving. And once you start moving, then the sky is your limit. Another takeaway I wanted to share with you is that as I look back at myself, I was very often afraid to speak up. So I was very often I was at the meetings with the senior people, and I had some good ideas which I wanted to share, and I just didn't dare to speak. I was really stressed about it. So I thought, oh, I'm so young. Maybe my ideas are not so good. And once I was at a meeting, and I was with one of my bosses, and I actually during the meeting I told him, oh, I have this idea. We could have done like this. And then he said, mm-hmm. And a few minutes later, he presented this idea at the meeting, and everybody said, oh, yeah, good idea. Let's start developing it. And then I thought, look, this was my idea. This was my idea. So maybe my ideas are not that bad in the end. And I should not be afraid to speak up and to present my ideas. So at that point, I realized that people around me, they are obviously very smart, but I'm not that bad either. So I should not be afraid to speak up and to present myself. And that moment was kind of a big change in my mind. And afterwards, I have changed my attitude, and I'm at least even now I'm still trying not to be not to afraid to speak up. I kind of felt as a woman, and I was very often, even now I'm still at the meetings where I'm one woman. I'm the only woman. Since recent years, maybe there are two women. But until like 2 years ago, there could have been a meeting of 10 men, and I was the only woman. And I was really afraid to speak up. And my big message to everybody is do not be afraid to speak up when you have a good idea. And then continuing my career, I moved to ADM, and it's a big agricultural producing, trading, and also shipping company. And I'm staying there now for over 10 years. And since then, I moved to Switzerland, and I have joined Vista, and I met Yasmina, and I met Rafael, who's going to be speaking after me. And one point I wanted to make also, it's I found it's very important to stay in to have some kind of network or association of people that can support you. And for me, this was Vista. I really found a lot of ladies there that supported me on in various occasions, professional, personal. And this is very important. So it's not that I'm just advertising Vista. Of course, it can be Vista or any kind of association or a forum. But to have a team that supports you at work is very important, but outside of work is also extremely important. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Okay, thank you so much, Mariana. Yes, no, definitely getting the support in the job and outside, and yes, the big story of the imposter syndrome, and taking your own space in order to express your ideas in meetings. That's a big one. So we'll be back with some questions later. Thank you very much. So now Raphael. Raphael, she's at Sukafina, and she's leading the logistics and operational efficiency. Sukafina is a leading coffee merchant in Geneva, and her role is to provide clear strategy and objectives to achieve corporate and local companies' goals, including business partners development, coaching and internal teams training, setting executions team, KPI, and IT requirements. And together with the CEO, she leads the digital transformation and process improvement set up across the cross-functional operational department. And she has been our VP at Vista Switzerland for many years now. And yes, and we are very happy to welcome you, Raphael, and hear your story.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'm also very impressed by all the stories that I have heard today, and I actually took notes. This is one of the big things that it's important to be in these events, and I'm really proud to talk. Thank you for welcoming. Thank you, the young shipping professional, for organizing today. I must say that from all that we have heard, I was like, oh, it's what happened to me. I just have all the same. So hard work, focus, passion, mentor, confidence building, networking. I can have like exactly the same stories. I must say that in my professional life, if I hadn't had all these factors, I would not be where I am today. I started my career 15 years ago in trading just by chance, because I actually had a degree of international transport and logistics. So I was focusing myself to actually become probably a leader in a forwarding agency. But I actually ended up being in a coffee merchant. It's Sukafina, and it started 15 years ago. And I am still there today, but it's still not the same life at all. And I can tell you in 15 years, it's been happening lots of things. So just to give a little different angle to all these stories, I think I would like to talk to you about what is it to be a leader and a hard worker and passionate about your work and deal with your private life. So how is it to deal with your kids, with your husband, with your family, and how do you kind of balance that? And fact is, I don't know. I don't know how to balance that myself, and I have to really focus every day to kind of wonder, what is the limit I should put to the passion I have of my work compared to what I should give for my family? I have very often cases where, well, whatever it is today, like 7 p.m. something in Geneva, my kids have had dinner without me, and my husband also was waiting for me, but they know that I am passionate and they know that I have this event today. My kids, they tell me yesterday, you're not going to be there tomorrow. But I say, yeah, I'm going to talk about my work and what I've done, etc. And they say, Mom, you are so passionate about what you do. Actually, we want actually to do the same job as you in the future. And that's, for me, I think it's an important factor. That's okay, I can give that to my family, that okay, what is it that we are going to give, and what is it that is not just for our family, but it is also for the people around us. So as a leader in a trading industry or in the shipping industry, we have to pay attention to signals. So how do you kind of suddenly you realize that you've been too far away in your work and not enough in your family? For me, my signals are very important. If suddenly I lose patience at home, suddenly I become too nervous and I will not listen to my kids anymore. I will not listen to my husband anymore. And okay, something got wrong. I got too much stress. I should just stop. And this happens every 3 months. So suddenly I kind of say, okay, right now I have to find a way. And how to find a way has been 2 ways for me. First of all, it was a kind of be prepared with an agenda. Okay, I have to put in my agenda that it's not all for work. My agenda is, what do I want to achieve? I want to achieve my goal for my family. So to put in my agenda, focus time and reverse time for my kids and for my husband. So I have it set in my calendar that there's certain time nobody can contact me at home or at work, and they cannot contact me by phone, by email, or by any sort of means. So it's, you know, this kind of rule that you reject the calls automatically. I also have set like in my agenda, like a weekly time that is kind of a weekly meeting, like it's reserved for homework with the kids. You know, we are going to do that together. And at weekends, I made it a rule that at weekends, I don't do work anymore. A part of those, and we agreed that, and we voted them together with my kids. We told them, like, whenever I am at work, it's going to be the reverse. Family cannot contact me except if it is an urgency. And that helped me, because otherwise it was just going all over the place and I would not know where to find my own balance. So I think it's one advice for you. Whenever you are going to be at the point that you have to give a lot to achieve what you want to achieve, okay, make sure that you are comfortable and that you don't feel this, you know, this little voice that something gets not balanced for yourself. And if you are comfortable with the rule you set, there is nothing wrong. And it's not because you're a woman that you cannot have these decisions, you know, that you not have to decide that you want to put 70% of your life at home and 30% at work, or vice versa. You can decide and be proud of it and be believing in that. And I think the second thing that I want to also share is, what is it that you're going to take for yourself? What is it that it is that you're going to be happy with? So, for example, my reward is if my team is going to tell me, hi, you've shared that with us and we made a success ourselves. So the achievements of others, it's actually my reward. And I think it's also important for you as a leader, in the future leaders, to kind of think, what do you share? And as much as you have received a mentor to build your career, what else are you going to be the mentor for others and kind of give back? So for me, this kind of relationship of I have grown, but now I can also give back, it's really what passionate me even more to continue. I don't know if it's too short or too long, but here it is with my stories.
No, thank you. Thank you, Rafael. Well, I just have one question. What would you say to the ladies who are working in shipping and they have a problem with the ship during the weekend?
Well, I don't have that particular situation in my role, of course, but I believe that it depends again what you have decided for you to do, right? If this is your passion and it is part of your work and you've accepted that, and it is an acceptance of these constraints and it is part of what you've embedded, why would it be a constraint, you know, in the end? I think this is where you have to decide where is your constraints limits, your personal ones. And perhaps you can build the team, right? If you build the team, they can take over instead of you.
The dream team, exactly. That's a very good thing. Okay, so are there any questions, Merve?
Actually, we have prepared some questions in advance, but most of you already replied them. So let me ask you, and maybe someone wants to add something additional. First of them, what advice would you give to the next generation of female leaders? I don't know if anyone wants to reply, or shall I read all questions together?
We will do one by one. Anyone? Okay. Yeah, anyone would like to answer that one, Marlene?
Sure. I mean, I agree with Rafael. Thank you very much for that, because you're so true about supporting others and taking time for yourself. And there's so much more we can speak about. But for future leaders, I would say encourage everybody. Don't get into the habit of just encouraging females. Encourage all your coworkers, empower them, show them that you're a team and that's all that matters. Become gender neutral. And that's kind of my hope for the future, that we stop talking about gender, we stop talking about diversity, because we won't see it. And I think that is the way we need to move forward, is just support everybody, don't become unconsciously biased is another term we use in our industry, where you just judge people for how they look. Really look at people's talents and encourage them to accept everybody. Because working with, especially with females in my organization, I go out of my way to encourage them to speak up. Just like Raphael said, speak up for yourself. Show people that you have a voice. I think Mariana said that, sorry. But just encourage, encouraging others and really showing them that we can all do this job. There is no separation, I think, is where we really will succeed in the future.
Thank you so much. And second one, as a female leader, what has been the most significant barrier in your career? Or maybe you tell us your hardest day in your, in your career, and then how to solve it.
Well, I can tell a funny story, so to lighten this topic, because I don't think it's a very nice topic. But no, I can just say that at the beginning of my career in trading and shipping, it was 1998, and I had to do a trip to China, and there people were. The people in Geneva said, "But are you sure that it's a good idea that you go there? Because I think that they would expect to see a man trader and not a woman trader." And I said, "Listen, I think that on the contrary, I understood that if you're a woman, they will have a higher consideration, saying that if she comes from abroad and she's a woman, then she should really be very important." This is the concept that was going on in China. So they still wanted to make a lot of fun with me. So I told them from the beginning that I was a vegetarian, because I didn't want to have all kinds of strange things to eat. And just at the very last day, they came out with this fish, and they said, "You like sushi, right?" And this was this fresh fish, and it was cut in slices, and they say, "You please start." So I come with my chopsticks and I go to get the first piece, and of course the fish was still breathing. So of course, in order to keep calm and not to say like this, so I said so I started laughing, and I said, "Wow, that's really very fresh fish. Thank you so much." But it was a constant. You could feel that that they were constantly testing you. So I think that you just need to stay yourself and if you can take things with a little bit of distance and with some humor, I think you are going to go a long way. And if you are too much into the action itself, you are going to react way too fast and with too much emotions, which is not always good. That would be my advice, how to handle that.
Okay, thank you then. And about the other questions, one of them again already replied. And how do you balance work and life responsibilities? I think we got reply for that as well, but maybe someone wants to add something.
I can maybe say something about this. I just read also a question in the chat section from one of the participants saying, "What would you change in your? What would you do different?" I would.
Right? That
yes. One. Yeah, I would maybe. These two questions ring a bell for me. Actually, I decided to be a lawyer when I was 12. There was a movie, the TV show on TV. Probably young shipping professionals wouldn't know, because most probably they were not born at that time. But maybe people at my age would know. It was a U.S. law firm movie, LA Law. I loved it. I was loving it, you know. I said, oh, I want to be a lawyer, international one. And my mom is a lawyer, but she works for the government. And she said, well, it's not as fancy as you see on the movie, on the TV. In Turkey, it's difficult. It's not as colorful as you see on the TV. Now I look back, I do not want to change anything in what I chose to be a profession. What I would only do maybe different is to balance my home and work life better when my daughter was smaller, younger. I remember that I was working too hard, and although she traveling a lot, and she was coming to the airports with flowers and everything to to welcome me, I was missing her a lot. Maybe when Rafael was speaking, I thought what I would change is I would do a balancing. I would seek for more help, maybe from my colleagues, my team, and not trying to do everything myself. That's what I would do. A balance in my work and home life. That would be the only thing I might touch and do a little change.
Thank you so much. And is there any other question? From Burcu Meşelik. Hi everyone. Thank you to all sharing your experience. I myself find difficult to control my feelings and emotions. How do you control yours? We have distinguished different from men. Thank you for the question, by the way.
Yeah, I think that the first thing is that unfortunately, women are already called like having a high temper and being very emotional. Even if we are or we are not, we raise our voice, we are getting aggressive. Whereas when men raise their voice, they are getting their voice out and they are being heard. So it's the perception which is different. So we have to start seeing ourselves the way we are, with again from a distance, and as Marlene said before, to try to be to be all equal on the same level and not being distinguished as a man or a woman. And we might be more emotional, but we know we have some ways to hold ourselves, and the first one is breathing. I mean, if you do some breathing exercise, when you see that your temper is coming up, you just do some breathing, and then all your stress level is coming down. So that's already one thing. The second one is you drink a glass of cold water, so this calms you down. And the third thing, the last thing you do is to confront the person. The third thing is you get up, you walk around the block, and you come back. Even if it's in a Zoom meeting, doesn't matter. You excuse yourself, you go around and you come back. And just take some distance and try to avoid having to respond automatically. Nowadays, we are living in an era where everybody's facing everybody through Zoom meetings. There are very few people who are able to go in a room and meet with other people, and this is getting much more difficult because the way people sense you is also different through a camera than live. So it can be also helpful because usually through the camera you can hide better your emotions. So you can just look on the side.
Can I add something to yours? Because I have a completely different thought about this. I think everybody has emotions and feelings and can go off the handle, both men and women. One thing, and that kind of ties into what would you change in your career, is not suppressing your feelings and emotions, because women bring a different view and a different way of looking at things within the company, and they're really important. You don't want a whole bunch of yes men. You want people who push the envelope, find different ideas, innovate, move forward. And the only way to do that and to have a successful team is to have a diverse team with different views, different emotions, different feelings, because you'll bring something new to the table. And I suppressed my voice for so long in my career. So I would say don't suppress it. Be who you are. But obviously, like Yasmina said, be professional about it. But you should not be embarrassed or think that you should change how you are as a female, because that's what brings value to your company, is your view and your emotions and having a different outlook on your work and how the company should proceed.
I totally agree with you. We are not having different views.
Yeah.
The question was when you are getting too emotional, because you don't want to be too emotional about something. I mean, because we could be, I mean, we are more sensitive to some issues. So you don't want to cry in front of your boss. I mean, this is not going to help you. I don't think so. You don't want to shout out. You don't want to shout at someone because someone has said something that you don't agree with. I mean, you don't want to get into a fight. You want to calm down, think about the question again, and revert once you have thought about it and go back with another perception. That's what I was talking. But what you said, I completely agree with you. We need everything. To have the dream team, you need men and women. This I completely agree.
Yasmina.
Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to say my trick is like yours, but maybe even more radical. If I really have a difficult situation, I park it until tomorrow. I don't do anything on it unless it's urgent. I close it and I open this email or situation, whatever topic, next day. And I think with a fresh head, sometimes, very often, next day I look at it and I think, oh, it doesn't even need any reaction at all.
And may I also add something, Yasmina? When Mariana was speaking, that it reminded me this. I think knowing yourself is also helping. There are several personal development programs where you can learn about yourself, to which you are getting emotional, or when are you getting angry. Because none of we are showing emotions and angerness to different things. I can get angry on something where you wouldn't, because probably I have a reason to be angry about it that I don't know. Mariana was saying that she was not expressing her ideas in the meeting, and when she saw that the other man used her idea, then she started believing that her ideas. Probably she has a reason. She had a reason at that time that she was not expressing herself clearly. So for young people, I think they have a lot of tools to develop themselves, to take some coaching about their own personality, their weaknesses. Where are they getting angry? When are they getting emotional? Knowing yourself is also helping to, I think, get on with these situations. We were not as lucky as the young people now. We did not have those kind of tools, options, coaching programs, whatever. Now they have plenty. So I suggest they also follow some of them and try to discover themselves about so that they can use that in future stressed times.
Thank you so much. And Burcu Meşelik adds that, and don't take it personal, I guess. And she thanks for the replies. We have one more question from Yiğit. What would you do if you received a job offer from another country that you wanted very much, even though you were married?
Is the wife going also, or the husband?
I don't know about it.
I just did that, so I can talk about it. It's not another country, but Texas is kind of like another country in the United States, especially from the Northeast. I was offered the job at Stoll, and it's just communication, and everybody's personal experience is different, so I can't really speak to you specifically, but when I was offered the job, my husband and I discussed the pros and cons of moving our children, being away from family, and we decided that it was the way to go. I mean, my job was going to kind of pave the way, and his job could transition. So it's really who has the easier transition, I would say. If your spouse can find another job or be happy in the area you're moving to, you really have to take that into account. It was interesting, though, to give you a funny story. When I decided to take the job and move, everybody from my colleagues to my family were so surprised that we were moving from my job and not my husband's. They did not think that my husband would follow, like a wife would move and the husband would follow his wife's job. So it wasn't just in the industry, it was my family and my friends. But you really have to make the best decision for both of you and for your career development. Even if your husband takes a pay cut, will he have more opportunities, or maybe a different outlook to his job that maybe will challenge him? So you can look at it differently.
Thank you. And I think we have one more. From Destina Sena. Do you see a difference in the salary just because of the gender?
Perhaps let me answer this one. Yes, sadly. I mean, there's just so numerous studies about that. And just to take the case of Switzerland, I think the difference is still 17 or 18% of salary for the same type of job. I mean, it's not acceptable today to still have to fight for this kind of differences. And I think it's really important that whenever you decide to work for a company, that you should have this open discussion. Because why do we end up for such a differences of salary? Is that just really because of the gender? Is that because we, as a women, when we start initially our job, we don't ask for the right salary as well, and we don't prepare ourselves to actually talk about money? I kind of figure out that Yasmina and I, we were to a conference, I remember, for the March 8th some years ago. And I remember that conference was amazing. I thought, okay, right, I should prepare myself to talk about money. And it's not something that I am used to do. And that was a very good advice. It's probably not enough, but that would help. And probably the selection of integrity of the company that you're working with is something important. So I think we are getting there step by step.
Yeah, and I think it also depends on the countries. Each country is different also.
Okay, thank you. And is there anyone else? I can't see. So is there anyone wants to add something else? Additional comment? Then I think it's time to close for today. Thank you so much to our speakers for the illuminating speech. It was very helpful for us, for young generation. Thank you so much. And also thank you to our audience joining us tonight. As Young Shipping Professionals family, we will be in touch for our, future organizations. But for tonight, I think it's time to say goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. It was really nice.
Yeah, thank you very much.